Mali has shocked corrupt African leaders after it announced a clearance payment of $332 million that have made the country the first African country to be free from any foreign and domestic debt. Did you hear that? Well, maybe let's ask, for how long has Assimi Goïta been in charge of this country? What magic has he used to free the country off its debt? What do the puppet African leaders think about this move? We are going to dive and discover some shocking details of how this all happened step by step. But first, a big thank you for all our returning viewers. They motivate us to compile more interesting content for you. Always support us more by liking and sharing the video. Then leave us a comment, and if you are new here, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so that you be among the first to watch our videos. Now let's get started. For decades, Mali, like many African nations, has been trapped in a cycle of debt, a legacy stretching back to the era of independence. High debt to GDP ratios have weighed heavily on the country, impacting every aspect of Malian life. Schools, hospitals, infrastructure, all have suffered under the constraints of foreign debt and reliance on international financial institutions. But that all changed when Mali announced a historic $332 million debt payoff. This isn't just an economic milestone, it's a statement. Mali is taking control of its financial destiny. Just a few years ago, Mali, along with its neighbors, Burkina Faso and Niger, was hit with sanctions from ECOWAS. These sanctions led to debt defaults that might have crippled a nation. But instead of succumbing to pressure, Mali made a bold choice. So how did Mali pull off this economic miracle? Mali's success could ignite a new wave of economic independence across Africa. Sub-Saharan Africa currently holds over $700 billion in external debt. That's money that could be invested in local infrastructure, education, and healthcare. But instead, billions leave the continent every year in debt repayments, perpetuating economic dependency. With Mali's historic payoff, we're seeing the potential for a new path, one that challenges old colonial dynamics and prioritizes African sovereignty. But there's more to this story. Mali's debt payoff is part of a larger movement in the Sahel region. Alongside Niger and Burkina Faso, Mali has joined the Sahel Alliance, a coalition determined to redefine their relationships with former colonial powers and foreign financial institutions. This alliance aims to build economic sovereignty, strengthen regional security, and forge new partnerships on their own terms. These nations share a common vision, a Sahel region that controls its own destiny, free from external manipulation. Leaders like Burkina Faso's Ibrahim Traoré have championed initiatives to keep their nations financially sovereign. Traoré's government created the National Treasury Bank, established the Post Bank to expand banking access, and even floated Burkina Faso's first national bond, attracting investment from global private investors. This push for economic independence comes with a significant shift in international relations. For years, France has maintained a strong economic and military presence in the Sahel, but today the countries of the Sahel Alliance are saying, enough is enough. They're questioning the legacy of neo-colonial policies that often benefit France more than the African nations themselves. In response, these countries are exploring new partnerships. Russia and China are stepping into the picture, offering alternative investments and alliances. But the big question remains, is this simply trading one form of dependency for another, or a true path to self-reliance? Mali's debt payoff is part of a broader economic strategy that emphasizes resource nationalism and economic diversification. Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso are rich in resources, from gold to uranium. By taking control of these resources and reinvesting locally, these nations aim to capture more value within their own economies. Alongside resource control, there's a push to modernize agriculture, invest in manufacturing, and develop technology sectors. Economic resilience requires diversity, and these nations are working to build economies that are not overly reliant on any single commodity. While Mali's debt payoff is a groundbreaking step, challenges remain. Can Mali sustain this debt-free status amidst global economic pressures? Moving away from traditional partners like France might risk economic isolation, and without robust governance, there's the risk that economic gains may not reach those who need it most. Critics question whether Mali's bold move will be enough to bring about lasting change. Is this debt payoff just a one-time statement, or the beginning of a sustainable strategy for economic self-reliance? If Mali's success inspires other nations, it could shift the balance of economic power on the continent. Imagine a future where African countries are free to invest in their people and infrastructure, free from the burdens of unsustainable debt. If more African countries follow Mali's lead, we could see a new economic order, with African nations negotiating as equals on the global stage. The journey to economic independence is long and complex, but Mali's debt payoff is a powerful step forward. It's a statement to the world that African nations can and will take control of their destinies. So what do you think? Will Mali's bold move inspire a new wave of economic independence across Africa? Or is the path to debt freedom more challenging than it seems? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more in-depth analyses on African economic and political developments.